What's going on, everybody? Curtis Wilkerson with HawgSports.com coming to you from Bud Walton Arena once again, where the Arkansas Razorbacks knocked off the Kentucky Wildcats, number 6 Kentucky, 75-73, in just an incredible game. It feels like maybe I'm picking and choosing my times to do these live reaction videos. I promise I'm not. I wanted to do them for all the big home games. As it turns out, Arkansas just continues to win them. They continue to find a way. Listen, this was wild. I was at the Auburn game. I was at the Tennessee game. But this atmosphere today against Kentucky takes the cake. It was the best environment that I've been in. Unbelievable. It was, I text this to Danny West and the guys, it was uncomfortably loud at times. Deafening at times. The stripe out I thought was awesome. Sharkensaw, cool. I love it. Just really a fantastic day at Bud Walton Arena. An absolute battle between two elite teams. I mean, what can you say? Arkansas and Kentucky are both the real deal. Eric Musselman said it after the game, Kentucky is a team that could win a national championship. He stopped short of saying Arkansas could do it, but he believes that you can tell, and they've proven that with some of these wins they've been able to collect over what's really an incredible run now, 13 of 14 here down the stretch of the season, and they're in the part of the schedule where people thought they'd take some losses. They were supposed to stack their wins early and maybe take a few on the chin late. It's been the opposite of that. They hit their bumps in the road over the holidays. They lost 5 of 6, 0-3 against a favorable schedule to start SEC play. And now here they are, 23-6, 12-4 in the SEC, in second place. And as I walked up here to record this video, Tennessee was getting ready to knock off Auburn. And if that score held, then you're looking at the possibility for Arkansas to be just one game out of first place in the SEC standings with 1 week left to go in the regular season. It's incredible. At any rate, they locked up that double bye top 4 seed. They won't have to play until Friday when they go down to Tampa for the SEC tournament. Fantastic game. I thought, I usually, like I said, I write my 5 takeaways for these games. I like to just give them to you. I'll go off the cuff a little bit. So my 5-ish, maybe more, maybe less. We'll see where we get here. Takeaways from this win. One, I thought it was a fantastic start by the Hogs. They really fed off of the energy in the building. Helped them build up a big lead. Got up, I think, up by as many as 13 in the first half. It forced Calipari's hand. He didn't start Xavier Wheeler and Ty Washington, the 2 guards that were questionable, but they were available. He had to get them in there pretty quick with a timeout. And I also think it was important because it kind of set Arkansas up to be able to weather a storm that you knew was going to come. Basketball is a game of runs. Good teams make runs. You kind of had a hunch, even when Arkansas was up by a dozen or so in the first half, that Kentucky was eventually going to settle in and make a run at it, and they did. But because Arkansas put the heat on them early, kind of allowed them to weather that storm and have some gas left in the tank down the stretch when they needed it. Oscar Tshiebwe is a beast. Absolute monster. 30 points, 18 rebounds for Kentucky. He's your National Player of the Year, in my opinion. I haven't seen a guy like him in person. And when you're that skilled and that physical and that strong, and you're literally allowed to do whatever the hell you want, that's a pretty dangerous combination. He gets away with a lot of over-the-backs, camps out in the lane for long periods of time, but he's also extremely effective. And I thought he was incredible. He had putback after putback. I think he had 8 offensive rebounds over the course of the game. So he really played well. Arkansas tried to double him at times, and he was very good at being patient with that. He hit a cutter for a layup. They started to dig down from the guy who would enter the pass into him. Usually that was Wheeler. He started heating up and hitting a couple threes when Tshiebwe would kick it out to him. Eventually they just said, hey, we're going to leave Jalen Williams or Kamani Johnson or whoever on an island, guard him one-on-one and do your best. And Arkansas was able to overcome it. But it wasn't for a lack of effort from Tshiebwe. The guy's a beast. He deserves some credit. I thought it was a sneaky good game offensively for Arkansas. They shot 48% from the field. Kentucky's a really good defensive team. I thought for the most part they took good shots. Obviously had some big individual performances that we'll talk about in a minute. And I also think it was important that, what Arkansas hit 5 threes, but they eventually started to make their way to the free throw line, knocked them down when they counted, I think 13-17. Listen, Devo got to the line twice there at the end. He split a pair both times, but it increased the lead both times out to 2 possessions, which was really important. So a nice job there by the Razorbacks. 12 turnovers. They really came in spurts there towards the end of the first half, an early period in the second half. But other than that, they were pretty strong with the basketball and dished out 14 assists. I think it was a little bit of an underrated game defensively. Arkansas has been holding teams under 40% from the field. We've seen a lot of that lately. Kentucky shot, 45.5? A lot of that Tshiebwe, man. I mean, he was 13-21 or whatever from the field. Outside of that, Arkansas did a pretty good job of limiting other guys, really making them work. Wheeler had a decent game. Keon Brooks had a decent game, but it wasn't enough to get him past the Hogs. Some of these individual performances, I mean, J.D. Note, he kind of put Arkansas on his back for long stretches of time. 30 points, 8 assists. I think he finished with 5 or 6 turnovers. That's a little too many, but the ball was in his hands at all times. He hit some huge shots, and it was in an array of ways. He knocked down some of those big threes. He was physical, driving it at Wheeler, finishing around the basket. He had a post-up score. He turned the corner off of a ball screen one time and hammered a dunk. Was that the first dunk of the season for Note? It surprised me. I think it might have been. I'm going to have to go back and look. Whatever, you love to see it. Jalen Williams, sick. You could tell that he was fatigued throughout the course of the game. Part of that's because he's going up against a guy like Tshiebwe. That's tough. That'll wear you out, right? But you add into that he was sick. It turns out he was throwing up in the locker room at halftime. They didn't know how much energy they were going to have out of him, especially in the second half. He had a tough defensive assignment. He was doing great on the boards. I think he started out about 1 of 8 or so from the field, but he made some big plays down the stretch, some and ones, knocked down mid-range jumpers. He was clutch at the free throw line again. And all of a sudden, you look up at the end of the game, and he finishes with 16 and 12. Another double-double. I mean, you can't say enough about the effort he put in tonight. Made some major plays. Stanley Amude had 13 and 6. He hit some absolutely huge three-pointers. He hasn't been shooting well in Bud Walton Arena. He kind of reversed course on that today. Again, you love to see it. Great job by Stanley Amude. I thought there were some unsung heroes in this game. You look at Au'Diese Toney's stat line. He finishes with 4 points, 2 rebounds. Okay, whatever. He was so big for this team on the defensive end of the floor. Spent a lot of time guarding Ty Washington. Really made him work. Spent a majority of his time, though, on Kellen Grady, who's one of the best premier shooters in the country, not just the SEC. This guy with over 80 made three-pointers, shooting 45% from beyond the arc on the season, and he made 1 shot and only got 3 off in this game. So taking his scoring out allows you to absorb the blow that comes with a guy like Oscar Tshiebwe having a big game. Great defensive effort by Au'Diese Toney. Trey Wade, I thought, did a really nice job of getting Arkansas started, right? When the Hogs built up that lead, that double-digit lead early in the game, Wade had a couple big dunks. He went up and hammered one over the top of Ty Washington. It almost brought the roof off of Bud Walton Arena. A little bit later, right after a timeout, he came back and hammered one, got the foul. It was an and one dunk, essentially a 3-point play. So that really kind of sparked Arkansas early. We talked about Williams being a little sick, a little under the weather. Kamani Johnson comes in. He only plays 8 minutes, but he brought so much physicality and energy. He made an impact when he was on the floor. He had somebody dropped one off to him. He finished a layup, but his biggest play was coming up with a steal under Arkansas's own basket. Came up with the steal, found Stanley Amude for a kick-out, go-ahead 3. It was a massive, massive play. And he made Tshiebwe work in there. He picked up a foul on him. Great job by those guys. Just another tough, gritty win for this Razorback team. They continue to find ways to get it done. Another quad 1 win. They're 4-0 now against teams that were ranked when they played them. If you think about Auburn, Tennessee, and Kentucky, and then the LSU game on the road, LSU was highly ranked at the time. Again, 23-6, 12-4 in the SEC, second place. We weren't thinking about that in mid-January. Quite the turnaround. They're number 18 in the AP poll right now. You pick up a road win at Florida and then you knock off Kentucky, you're getting ready to take quite the leap up the polls. People, if you're not taking notice, what do? You're not watching. You're not paying attention. I don't know if this is true or not, but I had a few people text me and say Joe Lunardi updated his seed list or something after the game and made sure to go out of his way and mention that Kentucky's not going to drop for losing to Arkansas, but I guess he still has Arkansas as a 6 seed. Are you drunk? I mean, come on, brother. I respect what you do, but a 6 seed, after everything they've done so far, if that's the case, fine, but I feel really bad for whoever the 11 seed is across from them. This team's been playing fantastic. 2 games left to go. Home against LSU Wednesday night. That'll be senior night. And then on the road for the rematch against Tennessee. And then, again, winning, it's contagious. It leads to other things. It builds on itself. Right? So you already think about, what Arkansas did last year with the Elite 8 run. And it allowed them to assemble this team that's doing what it's doing this year. And then you've got the 2022 signing class, okay, which is at 5 for now. Number 2 ranked group in the country. And then you start thinking ahead to the class of 2023. How are you going to be able to maintain this? If you create a monster, you got to feed it, right? Well, in what was one of the most fantastic atmospheres and environments that you're ever going to see, Arkansas had some key 2023 prospects in today. Layden Blocker, 6'2" point guard, 4-star, top 40 guy, in-state player. He was in the building taking it all in. Another 4-star, 6'10". You like that? Arkansas might need a little more length, a little more athleticism. Asane Diop, top 40 guy out of Colorado from the Senegal. He was in the building. The number 1 center, number 7 overall player in the class of 2023, 6'10" Bay Fall. He was in the building. I have to imagine that they were pretty impressed with what they saw. It was huge for Arkansas to get guys like that on campus for games. You continue to build off of it through the course of the summer, get them back for official visits, and see what happens. But at the end of the day, you can't ask for anything better. If you're a fan, if you're a player, coach, or recruit, what more do you want? The Razorbacks are rolling right now. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with HawgSports. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Another exciting one here from Bud Walton Arena. We'll catch up with you next time.